Hey, next project, just going to show you how to, I have a pool pump that's leaking and I'm just going to replace the O-rings on it to clean this leak up. And it's pretty easy to do. There's 6 bolts that mounts this unit, which is the motor, onto the housing. Take those 6 bolts off and just pull that away. Now I've taken the old O-rings off already. It's right here is where one is, and then there's another one right here. This is a Pentair Whisper Flow, and there's 2 types of O-rings. There's a almond colored one and a black one, depending on which year your model is. This one's an earlier year. That's the part number and stuff right there. And then here's the one, the black one for the round part, which is right there on top. That one. So like I said, if you have a newer model, this comes in a black O-ring and it's to fit the newer model. But if you look up your model and stuff on, just Google it and get a parts diagram, you can find those, get them on Amazon. I think both of these were less than 20 bucks for both of them. So it's pretty cheap, a lot cheaper than calling a pool repair guy out. So anyway, I'm gonna put some O-ring grease on those and I'm gonna put them in there, and then I'll come back and show you when we put it together. Pretty simple. Okay, I'm gonna show you. You can see this on this old O-ring. Hopefully you can see this, where it's very flat on both sides. And the new one, you should actually have one side rounded, one side flat. So the flat side goes down into the groove of the motor part, this part. So anyway, just wanted to point that out. Also, I mentioned about putting the O-ring grease on there. I just happen to have some from some other O-rings I got, but basically it's just petroleum jelly. That's what I use when I don't have the others. So anyway, okay, so now you can see I've got the new O-rings in. Right here is the one that goes around the housing, and then this one is the one that goes around the opening for the turbine. But basically, if you have some issues getting this one to go in because it's got some curves in it, just stretch it a little bit and it'll go right in. Don't stretch too much, but stretch it and it'll go in, and then it shrinks back up. But also the petroleum jelly helps to hold it in place, so that's another good reason to use it. But basically it just kind of conditions the O-rings and then helps them to stick into place and seal. So now I need to just put it back on. Into position here. Okay, so you have to put more water in the pump to prime it because it all drains out, but you can see no more leak. It was leaking all out of the side here, squirting. Oh, hope that helped. One more thing that I forgot to mention, wanted to point out. These pumps are really not that complicated. You have the motor back here, the O-rings we just looked at to change them, and then all this is up here is just the housing for the basket and the water to come in. But one of the main failures when you go to turn on your pump and it doesn't work is the capacitor that's underneath here. If you just take these screws out, pop this cover off, there's a cylindrical looking device, and it's called a capacitor, and it's your startup capacitor. And basically what it is, when you turn the power on, that thing charges up just like a battery, and it gives extra power to get that motor started. And if you turn on your motor and it doesn't work, or if it starts to work but then doesn't keep going, it just shuts down, 9 out of 10 times it's going to be that capacitor, which is another cheap part. There are some electrical connections going to it, and it can also give a pretty good shock if you don't know how to handle it. So if you're not electrically inclined, have someone else do it, because you have to discharge it before you start messing with it, or you can get shocked. But anyway, that's another cheap fix. I've replaced, this one has failed before, the motor failed, and I replaced the capacitor and it's been fine. And now I've just been replaced the O-rings. I gotta do the O-rings on this one as well, but for now this one's working. And you know, most of the time it's one of those two things that fail. If your motor completely fails, then you're stuck with getting a new pump. But other than that, that's really all there is to it. So anyway, good luck.